finding your tribe and building real community. Welcome back to Thriving Loudly.
I'm Trinice.
And I'm Aisha.
On this podcast, we talk about growth, life transitions, relationships, purpose, and what it really means to live boldly and authentically.
Today, we're talking about something that so many people are craving right now, community.
Yes. In a world where we are more connected online than ever. Oh my gosh, it's crazy, right? A lot of people are actually feeling more disconnected in real life.
Exactly. So today we're diving into what it looks like to find your tribe, build meaningful friendships in your 30s and beyond, and why people are starting to crave real life connection again.
So we'll also talk about how to step outside of your comfort zone, try new hobbies, and create the kind of community that support your growth.
Alrighty. So what does friendship look like in your 30s? So Trinice, how has friendship changed from you compared to your 20s? How has it evolved since then?
I would say my friendship now is more intentional. Back in my 20s and even like in high school, when when you're a teenager, it's more of like the friends that you've grown up with, you went to school with. So for me now, the friends that I have is more of the people of where I'm at in my life today. Especially like my newer friendships, I would say is more intentional with the type of people that I surround myself with. How about you? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say about the same. I think for myself, I'm still very much navigating friendships. I think that for myself in my 20s and, even in, like you said, grade school, high school, all these things, it's like you're in these spaces where it's easier to meet people because you're around them every single day, right? Yeah. You're in classes with these people. You kind of just organically get to know people and you gravitate towards people that you just vibe with, right? I think now that I'm in my 30s, it's a little different. And I think also because of having, a social media platform and being an influencer, being a local public figure out here, I'm just navigating it really differently now. And I think I'm a little bit more protective of my energy and, the people I allow into my life because, sometimes you don't know if people want access to you because of the things you have, or they genuinely want to be your friend.
Exactly.
And so that's something that I've been really navigating with the last few years is, who are the people truly in my corner. And I'm a naturally very introverted and kind of guarded person. I've always been very much not as open to people off the bat. And I've also take my time getting to know people and open up to people. So I think that also adds that additional layer of finding good, real friends. So it's been interesting. I do have friends, but I think, trying to step out and really make new friends and put myself out there, I've been a little bit more careful with.
Yeah, no, I have to definitely agree with that. I would say over the years, I've become more guarded as well. Especially now stepping into this new space with podcasting and things, I've had to really take an audit over my life to see like who are really my friends, who are really in my corner. Are they here, like you said, just to see what they can get, or are they genuinely my friends? And some friends I've had to part ways with, and some of them, I still do talk to. But just, I guess, how do you navigate that? Being a content creator, because I would assume that could be, that could be tough. Like, how do you differentiate who's real, who's not? I know we talked about this a little bit on season 1, but, just to dive a little bit deeper.
Yeah, that's tough. I think that it's still kind of hard to navigate that, right? I think that you kind of know the people who are there for you just based off of their support. And I think there's also just this level of how deep are the friendships? Is it just the person you're at like content creator events, or are you guys getting coffee? Or are you there for each other when there's life circumstances that happen? or are you guys doing activities together? Are you guys going to Pilates together? Whatever it may be, I think I've had to really realize, who those friends are. Are these just creator friends, which is fine. I think, for me, I think it's great to have, creators to lean on. The industry can get very lonely. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really talk about as much, is that it can get very lonely. Because there are people that don't understand, they don't get it. And having those other people in the industry that understand you, like, you should have those friends. You should have those people in your corner, but also you should have people that you can lean on when there's a life circumstance that happens. Someone where, maybe you're going through a tough time in your life, or you're going through a breakup or whatever, those are the people you can talk to. So for myself, I think that, I've had to kind of realize who are those people in my corner, and who are those people I can trust with, life issues and circumstances, and who aren't going to just take that information and go run and tell other people and put your business out there to the world. So it's been interesting navigating that over the last few years. I'm still figuring it out. I don't have it all figured out, but I think it's just kind of, like you said, taking audit of like who's here for what reasons, and like, can you go to this person? Can you trust this person? And would they be there if you had something happen to you? Would they be in your corner?
Yeah. And I would say too, for me, for friendships, I have different friends for different things.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I have like my friends that I like trust, and then I have my friends that are like entrepreneur friends. So they're in different categories, which I think is important, because, just because you have a friend does not mean they're always necessarily a multi-purpose friend.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've had to learn, especially like growing up. I had a best friend, which she's still my friend. I've been on her since I was 12 years old. But, she was my friend of everything, and as we got older and, things have changed, she's married now, we're just in two different spaces, and so it's like, as you grow and as you mature and as you change, those friendships change as well. They evolve, and it's like, you may have had that person as your like all be all, but as you get older, you start to kind of compartmentalize your friendships, if that makes sense.
I like that. And I agree with that. I think you made a good point is, I think there's also this expectation of, if you have a friend, they have to be your everything friend for every single thing, and putting that all on one person. You'd be like, well, they couldn't do this for me. Like, they're not real. They're not a real person. They're not a real one. I also, you're just like, I got all the, like you said, maybe she's a mom now. Maybe she, has
she's a wife now.
Yeah,
so
she's a wife. So she can't be that, friend that you used to, kiki and, watch reality TV shows with on the weekends. Maybe she has to take care of different things, and, she can only do that every so often. Or, I think there's, like you said, there's buckets and there's categories for friends. But also, I do think, whatever category or bucket your friends are in, they should still, respect, honor you, and not be also talking about you behind your back, or, like all those things. I think they should still be quality friends, no matter what bucket they're in.
So let's talk a little bit more, because I'm in this weird space right now. Like, I have my core friends, like we talked about. I have different friends in different categories.
Yeah.
But I'm finding myself kind of alone now too. Now that I'm, getting myself out there more, I'm becoming more visible. I'm kind of in this weird space. It's like, okay, I have my friends, but they don't necessarily get where I'm going right now, and how I'm evolving. Then I have my entrepreneurial friends, and it's like, they're kind of still behind the scenes though. They're not really like out visible. And so they don't understand everything. So it's like, I'm trying to find now like my new wave of friends. Like, what does this look like now as I, dive a little bit deeper into this space, How do you like navigate, like, do you understand what I'm asking? Like,
yeah. So you're basically, how do you find, now that you're kind of stepping into doing, social media, which is, a different realm. It's an industry. It's like, how do I now find those people, right? That kind of can relate to me on that level.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think doing the things you're already starting to do, going to creator events, meeting new people, getting yourself in that realm, in that industry, and you'll find people you'll gravitate to.
Yeah.
I will say, being in the creator industry can be a little lonely, and I see two aspects of this. And I had a really good a conversation with a creator about 2 weeks ago when I was at the Genesis house. I was at a retreat and they had other creators there, people who like flew out to it, you know, to be a part of it. And there was one creator that said, she's just like, you know, I'm trying to reach out to different, you know, content creators. I want to, you know, not necessarily like, you know, use them for anything, but, you know, you just want to talk to people. You want to pick their brain. You want to find those creators that you can be friends with and relate to. And I told her, I was like, I see both perspectives, because she told me that, like, you know, some of the creators can come off mean, or they're standoffish, or they don't want to talk to you. And she's like, I don't get that. And then I told her, like, just from my, you know, perspective being in the industry, I see two sides of the coins. There are creators who are very guarded and they're very to themselves, and they can be a little mean. You know, I don't know what experiences or issues they've gone through, but like I can see that. And then there's also the realm of that, you know, these creators may have been giving in the past. They may have let people into their world and they've been used. And so now they're more guarded, and they don't want to just open up to every creator who's like, hey, like, how did you how do you make money as a content creator? Or how did you gain 100,000 followers? And that's like the first questions they're being asked. And so they're kind of like, oh, like, is this person trying to be my friend, or are they just trying to get information?
I think that's the main point right there.
Yeah. It's like, so it's a little more, you kind of be a little bit more taken back. You're like, okay, like I want to help these people, and I want to, maybe take them under my wing, or be or have, be friends with them. But it's like, I just don't know if they're just there to get information from me.
Or for clout.
Or for clout. Yeah. So it's hard. And so, I feel like you really have to be intentional to really get to know, especially in the creator space, creators on a deeper level than just brand deals. How did you grow your account? How did you get into this room? How did you go to this event? And like, get to know them as a person.
I agree.
And, like, what hobbies do you like to do outside of content creation? What do you like to do? Like, get to know them, instead of it being like, I'll get a lot of people that will, sometimes DM me and be like, hey, can we go grab coffee, girl? And coffee turns into a 2-hour mentorship, program. And it's like, I love doing that. And I love helping creators. But if I did that every single day, I would have no time for myself. Exactly. No time to actually pour into my own real relationship and friendships. Right. Yeah. And so it can be lonely. And so I think you just have to be really intentional when you go out to these events and meet people.
I agree. Because this is a different landscape than entrepreneurship. Like my entrepreneur friends, all the people that I've met, like when I go to networking events, when it's about business, I feel like they're much more open. We want to work together. It's like, girl, what do you have going on? Oh my God, you understand my struggles. Yeah. But it's like with the content creators, they're a little bit more like guarded. It's like, what do you want? And I'm just like, this is a different landscape. I'm used to like, we share, we talk. Girl, tell me about how your business is going. This is what I'm doing. What's the latest tool that you're using? I need to use that for my business too. So that's why I'm like, how do you navigate it? Because it seems like it's more guarded in this space versus like freelance entrepreneur, landscape. That seems a little bit more open. We seem to be more like willing to share
more tight knit. Yeah. There's also like not that competition, system. No, I mean, it's really hard. I love to help creators. Anytime creators, DM me or they hit me up, I try to share my knowledge as much as possible. But also, I've had times where I've been burned, you have someone, you come with me, you do events and stuff like that. And then they end up like just ghosting you or using you. And you're like, dang, I was just trying to help. What the heck? And so you have to be very careful. And so it's like, I think a lot of creators become a little guarded because they're just like, I want to help people, but I just don't know if I'm just going to get used and tossed out when they're done and they've moved on to the next person they're trying to social climb up,
Right.
So
yeah,
it's different. I think you really have to just be intentional and just get to know people for who they are. Yeah.
How do you feel like your priorities have changed when it comes to friendships now?
I would say for myself, I'm navigating friendships, and I think that's, I've been in a weird season for myself in my personal life where I've had a lot of family stuff happen. Yeah. And so I've been in this very weird season where I've been MIA, right? And, I'm dealing with things, I'm processing things, losing, 2 people in my life so close has been like a whirlwind, right? It's been hard. And so like I've been processing that, and I haven't been that friend that, you can hit up all the time and like I'm going to text back right away. And I really truly haven't been that type of friend for quite some time. Just because of how busy my business has been. I kind of feel like I'm one of those friends. It's like if you really need something, like I'll be there, but I'm not the friend that is like, I'm going to be texting you back instantly and we're going to be hanging out every single day or once a week. I'm that friend. It's like, yeah, when we grab coffee or we go out or we have a good time, it's like we pick up where we left off. I have a friend in Texas, we've known each other since we were teenagers, since we were in college. And, we went to New York Fashion Week together and we had such a good time, and it was just like old times, right? Yeah. But we don't see each other, and we sometimes don't connect for sometimes a couple months. She's a mom, she's married, she lives in Texas now. Okay. I'm in Arizona, I'm in Phoenix, doing my thing, and we're both influencers, but sometimes like life is lifing, and I'm one of those friends is like, I'll be there, I'm watching, I'm rooting for you. Like I'm like, yes girl, grow that account, do this, start that business, I'm supporting you, I'm super excited. But I'm one of those friends that's kind of like, I'll pop in, and if it's a big life event, I'm gonna be there, birthdays, all the fun things, but I'm not the friend that you're like, all the time. Because I am very busy, and so it's hard to balance that. And I'm trying to find the balance to be a better friend, to be there more than I am. But when you got your own life happening,
trust me, I know.
There's death, passings, whatever. It can get tough. It can get tough. Yeah. What about you?
I'm in a season of my life too where I'm trying to like navigate my friendships, because I've been so busy too. I just have like so many things going on. And last year was really tough for me. So I really had my tribe. They were really there for me. And I think I probably talked to them more than I had talked to them in a while. Yeah. So that was great. And we are, still kind of on that same cadence, but not as much, just because life is life. And I think that when you get in your 30s, right, it's like most people are married now, they have kids, you have careers, you have so much going on. The expectations are a lot different than what they were when you were, in your 20s or when you were a teenager. So I think that people understand too, like you have your own life. I don't expect for you to be by the phone waiting for me to call you, or I'm going to call you every other day. Like that's not even realistic anymore.
Absolutely.
But one of the things I like to do with my friends is like meet up like once a month. Like I said before, I have different friends for different things. So I'll have like this friend will go to brunch, one weekend, and then I'll have another friend we'll go maybe the next weekend, or other friends, we see each other quarterly, or when I go back home, that's my time that I'm able to connect with them. And then also like birthdays and holidays. So after this, actually, my friend's birthday is coming up. I'm going over to her house because she's having a birthday party. So I just like to get together when I can, but I'm very much that person I will hit you up like, hey girl, I haven't talked to you in a while. What's going on? Let's do lunch. Like I'm all about, one thing about me, I'm all about community. I'm all about partnership. That's just who I am, because I'm a Libra. And it's like, as much as I've tried to be like Miss Independent, and I'm like, no girl, you love community. You love talking to people. You like socializing. So
I think
that's just how I am.
I love that. Yeah. I think as a Leo, I am more of like very prideful, very ego. I lead by my ego. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to hit people up when I'm down and out. I can't let the curtains fall down. Right?
Yeah.
Being a Leo. And so sometimes I'm like, let me hit her up in a couple of weeks when I'm out of this like weird headspace. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like for me, when we talk about like the whole zodiac sign thing, I'm like, man, I am definitely a Leo. Definitely when I'm struggling, I'm like, nah, I can't. I got to wait until I'm through with this season so people don't see me like at my worst. But I think it is I think also it is good for people to know what you're up to and see how they can help and support. I think that's important, because even through the things I've been through in my personal life and losing family members, I still have friends that hit me up just to check in, like, hey girl, just checking in. I know you've been going through a lot. I know you've been busy, but I'm just letting you know I'm here. And so I appreciate those friends, and I truly appreciate you guys who have reached out to me. It means a lot.
You need those friends for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you have a real friend. You have a real one.
Yeah. Yeah. The real one.
When they're calling you and they're checking up on you, like, hey, girl, how are you doing? I haven't heard from you. You know, is everything going okay? You know, so that's just very important. Why do you think that community is important? Especially as we're in this like whole social media era, you know, it's like everybody's connected on their phone.
Community, I think you need real life community. I think that, you know, we're in like a stage with social media where things, you know, people are very, very lonely. They're saying they're lonely on social media, yet they won't get out the house. And I'm like, it's like, girl, you got to get out the house.
You got to get out the house, Trinice. You got to get out the house.
I can't. That's step one. I mean, there's not much more I can tell you. But we're just kind of we're in this age where it's like, you know, I understand where people are coming from, you know, with the dating, and I moved to a new city and I can't make friends. But then it's like, why are you on social media saying this when you could be out there actually
meeting people?
And I know it's tough, and I know because we're all on our phones, and I feel like we've kind of lost this sense of, you know, community and also communicating in real life and having conversations, because I feel like sometimes if I'm out in public and I don't want someone to speak to me, I'll just like go on. I'll pretend I'm texting, you know, I'm like just like, it's like, please don't talk to me. You know, that's like my way. But yeah, I just, you know, it's, you know, we need the community. And I think there's just a lot that's coming out about, you know, heavy social media use. You know, we covered this a little bit in another episode. Yeah. But there's also, I was like watching something, I don't know if it was on TikTok or something. It could have been a YouTube video. But just, you know, even just like the early signs of just brain decline and memory decline. There's more and more studies, more and more research, you know, about that, you know, that you can start to decline as early as in your 30s. You know, a lot of it has to do with short form video, what they're finding out, because it's like a lot of people can't even remember the last 10 videos they watched. So if you can't remember the last 10 videos you scrolled through, that's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
That's a problem. It's like, I can't even tell you that. So that kind of tells you something. And so I really think we need to get out more. We need to talk to people more. We need to read, you know, we need to actually be using our brains. We're not using our brains. GPT. Lots coming out about ChatGPT. My boyfriend actually told me this yesterday. He's like, I saw a video. He's like, because I like to use ChatGPT just for brain dumping and just kind of getting my thoughts and putting my thoughts together. And he's like, Aisha, you need to kind of maybe slow down the ChatGPT use. He's like, I just saw something that said that creators who heavily rely on ChatGPT, you know, when it comes to like their views and performance, are significantly much more lower than people who are actually creating from their own heads and their mind and their brain, you know. And, you know, he was just telling me, he's like, as, you know, a creator, he's like, I know like you're wearing many hats, but, you know, you probably need to scale down on using ChatGPT and start critically thinking for yourself for ideas, you know, because if you don't start critically thinking and you stop using that part of your brain, you start to lose it. You do. You know, if you're not using it, you lose it. And that's with anything in life, just like with working out, you know, doing all these things. It's like, if you're not using those skills, you will eventually lose it. It's a muscle. It's a muscle. Yeah. And, you know, if you're not working that brain, you're not working that memory, you're not creating, you're not thinking, you're going to lose it. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on about, you know, AI and ChatGPT use. It's like, use it as a tool, but don't rely on it for every single thing, you know, whether that's caption writing, you know, thought pieces, you know, putting together emails. You know, sometimes I'm guilty of being like, hey, write this email for me, you know, and it's like, I got to start typing again, you know, like, because again, it's like, what is my brain going to look like? You know, what am I going to be like at 45, you know, with heavy ChatGPT AI use? I'm going to probably not be able to be thinking at 45,
Yeah.
and so I'm thinking about that too. And so I think, reading and doing a lot of these things that critically use your brain are going to be very important.
I agree. Yeah. I don't like to really rely on the chat GPT like that anymore. When
Yeah.
it first came out, it was so cool. Like, oh, I can use this for emails and stuff like that. And like you said, I use it for inspiration too, but I'm trying to get away from it, from the emails, because I used to write really good emails. Like when it came to business, not content, but like when it came to like business emails and things like that, like I was so good at that. Even like just reading contracts and stuff, but I've relied so much on ChatGPT, it's like I'm starting to lose some of that. And so that's why I'm like, I got to scale back on the ChatGPT and use my brain, because a lot of the stuff I was doing before ChatGPT even existed, and I was so good at it.
Like, and you're probably quicker, like thinking quicker, like all the things, And so I think it's really important to use that skill. And I know I've been relying on ChatGPT to read certain contracts and stuff like that. And
it's where's your negotiation skills now? Because you're relying on ChatGPT. No, you got to rely on your brain, because what if it goes away and you just want to have those sharp skills? Another thing too is I've just learned like socializing too. Like you said, when you go out in public, when you're in the community, a lot of people are on their cell phones. I went to, what was it? The cookout event? Was that like 2 weeks ago? And I went by myself. And I realized something when I had left it. I said, I was surrounded by a lot of people and I talked to a lot of people. I said, but I felt alone. I felt like everybody was in their own world. Although it was a lot of people there, they were still in their own world. Like even some of the vendors, they were checked out. And I'm like, wow, is this what we're getting to? Like I remember going to, pop-up shops, farmers markets and things like that, where people are talking to you and they're interacting. And it's like now people are on their phone, like, I'm the customer, and you're off to the side on your phone, doing this and like
scrolling TikTok,
like I'm bothering you. And I'm just like, wow, I came to support you, and then just walking around and talking to people. It's like, hey, how are you? They're, hey, how are you? Or they're looking down like, I don't want to speak. And I'm just like, when did we get to this? What happened to the day and age where people were friendly and they were speaking and, it's like, hey, how are you? Are you here by yourself? Girl, tag along. Come on. Like, I'm so used to that. And I don't know if this is an Arizona thing or because I'm from the Midwest and we're more friendlier, there, and it's more pretentious here. I don't know. But that would really like took me back. I was like, wow.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's a little bit of both. I think people are starting to lose the ability to socialize and they're losing their social skills. I mean, because I know sometimes for me, I'll be like heavily like relying on my phone as my little safety net, when you need to be kind of looking up, speaking to people and acknowledging people. But, statistically, and we talk about historically, the West Coast is a little bit more individual. I can't even talk right. Yeah, individualistic. Yeah, exactly. And so, when you look at Arizona as a state, and you compare it to the South where it's heavily, community based, mom, grandma, cousins get together, it's very, very community, very family oriented. And then when you look at going up into the East Coast, even the Midwest. Is very community, neighborhoods, get together. When you think about the East Coast, small, tight knit, it's not like that. In Arizona, everything's spread out. Everybody's kind of in their own world. And when you think about Arizona being one of the fastest places to where people are moving to, like more and more people are moving out here, everybody's a transplant. Everybody's navigating Arizona. And I think a lot of people are in their own worlds and in their own heads, just because it's so new and they're just trying to figure it out as well. So it's a little bit of all those things. I don't, obviously I grew up here, so I might be used to how people act. I mean, that's like when I go to New York and people are just like, I remember going to a store and the lady's like, there you go. And I'm like, dang, what? It's just like, so, because you know how like New Yorkers are, they got that kind of like.
Well, I'm used to that on the East Coast. I expect that. Yeah, I expect that on the East Coast.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's a little different for me because, I grew up here to where it's like, just how people act and, how they're loud on the subway or, they don't care. They'll just cuss someone out. And, I'm not used to that. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Are they doing that here?
Yeah. This is when I was, first going to New York. Now I go like at least once a year, but, yeah, it's just different. You know, different regions are a little bit different. And, but yeah, I agree. It's a lot. It's a mixture for sure.
It is. I'm just like, wow. Yeah, I just couldn't believe that. I was just like, is this where we're really getting to this now? Like, wow.
Do you feel like people are craving community more than ever now? Like, low key, you know, even though we're so isolated, we're just in our heads even more. Do you feel like more people are just, they still want that community?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are craving it, myself included. I think that's why we do gravitate towards social media, at least for me. So like one of the things I do is I'm always looking at the Instagram reels on the, what is it, the YFP section? Is it, or the FYP?
FYP's TikTok. Instagram is explore page.
Well, the explore page, yeah. So like I'm always just going through that, you know, watching videos, laughing and stuff like that. Yeah. And so for me, that's like my community. That's what I've learned. I'm like, okay, like this is like my online community where I feel like I'm interacting with other people. But I absolutely think that people are missing that, you know, because we are so isolated and a lot of people work from home now. You know, there's a lot of virtual aspect to life. You're not surrounded by community as much as you once were. Even myself, I mean, I've been out here now for 4 years. Since I've been here, I've never been in an office. Like I've never worked in a job in an office. I've been at home for the whole 4 years, you know, so I've never gotten a chance to meet those coworkers. Even when I came out here for a job and I had a job, it was all virtual, you know, so we never met in person. And then now being a business owner, it's like, unless I go out to my clients and physically, you know, go to their locations or meet them at their office, I'm just behind a screen. And so, yeah, I think that people are craving it because we're so isolated and it's like, I want to be, you know, I want to talk to people, you know, and not just on social media, not just behind a screen, but actually at events, you know, at a coffee shop, even apartment complex. That's another thing too. Like, that's how how things are so different now. It's like everybody's in their own world at apartment complexes, you know, like you would think that you would meet friends and stuff. I've been in mine for 4 years and maybe I know 2 people.
Does your complex do community events?
They do.
Okay.
And it's like, we'll socialize and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, bye, see you later. Won't talk to you maybe for another year, or if I see you at the pool or, you know, something like that. But everybody's just in their own world, busy, kids, spouses, you know, just stuff going on.
I agree. I also feel like it's location specific because when I lived downtown, like the building I lived at, they did community events like several times a month. Okay. And, you know, I would say, you know, when you live like downtown on Roosevelt, a lot of people are transplants.
There's a lot of stuff over there.
And there's always so much going on. And so even in our building, we were meeting people daily. They're like, hey, you want to come to the pool with us? You want to do this? You want to go? Like, I was like, dang, I'm like, you know, and for me, I'm from here. So there wasn't that need to go to every community event or to like, you know, meet every single person and hang out with every single person in my building. But I could see where that's valuable. And, you know, I've always told people who are like moving out here to Arizona is, you know, if you're young, you're single, you really want to get out and meet people, area matters, location matters. If you're living in Gilbert and you want to be outside, I wouldn't recommend Gilbert for someone who's young, right? You know, it's like more like you're settling down, but Gilbert is growing. They have a lot of new stuff they're adding out there. They're trying to build out some nightlife out there, but it's not the best area if you're really trying to meet people and be in the scene. You know, I always recommend downtown Phoenix to people. You know, it's like, hey, if you're coming out here and you really want to meet people, being in that area, or, you know, adjacent Midtown, Arcadia, Uptown, Old Town Scottsdale, Tempe, those hubs, those pockets, you're going to have an easier time meeting people, going to events, you know, being in the scene. When you kind of step outside of that, like you're in North Scottsdale, you're in Paradise Valley.
See, I'm a little bougie, so that's why I'm where I am. I'm like,
sheesh, I mean.
But I'm paying, I guess I'm paying for it.
You are, I mean, you are.
I'm like, if I was downtown, I'm sure I'd be outside all the time.
Girl, my high rise at downtown was expensive AF. It was so expensive, girl.
I know, I'm talking about like the outside area.
Yeah,
like,
but
I want to be somewhere safe. You know, I'm like, it's too sketchy down there for me. It's like,
there's pockets that are sketchy. But I mean, Roosevelt is overall safe, you know, and those high rises, I mean, those high rises are going for 4 or 5K.
Yeah, I know it's secure. It's just the outside. I'm just like,
yeah, it can be a little sketchy.
You don't know what you're gonna walk into.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, when you step outside those pockets, it gets a little bit harder, you know, especially if you're not settled down and you're single. But you know, those are great areas. You're in a nice area. It's safe. It's quiet, and some people like that. You know, and
I prefer that. Yeah,
and then you still have the access if you wanted to go downtown. You're not too far away, so I always recommend that for sure.
Yeah. Do you think social media creates a false sense of connection?
Absolutely. You know, whether that's parasocial relationships.
Oh my God. Dig into that.
Yeah.
What is that? Parasocial?
People, you know, I mean, parasocial.
What is that?
It's,
Are people having fake relationships?
Well, parasocial relationships basically means that, you know, if you especially are an online personality and you've built an audience, a lot of your audience feel like they have a true connection with you. They feel like they know you. They feel like you're their friend, you know? And so sometimes they feel so close to you, it's almost like an obsession to where they feel like they have a say at what you're doing in your life, like what type of content you're creating. Like, you know, they feel like they're entitled to knowing all your personal business, things about your relationships, your family dynamic, you know, relationships with your, you know, your siblings, like what's that dynamic like? And so it's almost like they develop this false sense of, you know, friendship with you and, you know, relationship with you, when they don't really truly know you. They're only still getting bits and pieces of your life. So I can kind of feel like, you know, a lot of people kind of develop parasocial relationships with content creators and influencers because they feel like they're entitled and they feel like they know their life. So that's the thing. So people kind of are just like very obsessive, you know, they want to know everything about the person they're following. And so that can get a little scary. The other sense is just like this. That
can get scary.
Yeah. The other thing is a fake sense of community when it comes to, you know, being online. You feel like, you know, your algorithms are the algorithm is so tailored to your tastes and to your preferences. And so you're in this echo chamber of things that you want to hear and things you want to see and things that you relate to that you're kind of it's almost like a isolation almost, because you're in an echo chamber of just the things that you see in your own opinions and your perception is being basically reaffirmed to you. And so I feel like sometimes it can create this false sense of the world to where you feel like the world may be bad, or like I can't go out into the world because it's crazy, you know, and this is the only opinion I see about the world and, you know, people and life and stuff like that. And so I feel like it can get a little toxic for sure.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It could definitely, give you a false sense of connection, false sense of reality. And like you said, what's the word? What is it called?
Parasocial relationship.
That is real. I mean, even me, I wouldn't even call myself a creator, but I'm like, I do have my diehard people that are like, they're invested. So that's, I'm like, it is real. It is real. It is. And they feel like they know you more than you know yourself, or like, it's like, hey, we've never even met before. Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. Do you feel like, how does being present in real life improve relationships? Because I think that I've had this, you know, conversation with friends or just, you know, my family recently, even, you know, my boyfriend about like, you're with a person, but you're not with them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you guys are there or you're in both you guys are just scrolling on your phones
out.
And checked out. So can you tell me a little bit about that? What are your opinion on that?
Yes. Actually, I just had, I had lunch with my friend, what was that, last Friday. And as soon as her and I had sat down, I was like, so I had left my office. I'm rushing to her to go have lunch. I'm like, oh my God, it's 12 o'clock. I got to get there. So when I got there and I sat down, I just felt like my head was just everywhere. And, you know, she was talking to me and I found myself like kind of just zoned out. And I just told her, I said, I just need a second to like decompress and like because I'm checked out right now.
Yeah.
And I just had to kind of woo-saw. And when I did that and was like, just give me 1 second and just kind of like breathe through my nose, I felt better and I was able to be more present. And so I found myself doing that whatever I do now or wherever I go. I like to put my phone away. I like to make sure that I'm actually present with the person, because I don't know what's going on like right now, and just over the past couple months, I just feel like I've kind of just been everywhere. And so now I'm just like, you need to come back to yourself. You need to kind of, what's the word? Like not woosah, but just like ground yourself, like ground a little bit. Yeah. Before you are, meeting with people or when you're talking to people, so that you can be present. Because a lot of us are sitting at the dinner table together and, you're on your phone, or you could be looking and talking and having a conversation, but you're thinking about 5 different things, and so I like to make sure I'm making eye contact. I'm actually listening to the person. I have my phone off to the side so that I'm giving them my undivided attention, because we, again, are living busy lives, nowadays. It's
Exactly.
like you're doing so many different things, but it's so important to be present.
I agree, because I feel like there's a lot of experiences I feel like I didn't really soak in fully because I'm just so worried about so many other things happening in my life, or, I'm thinking about, okay, I got this post, I got to get up, just like all these things that come into my head. And so I do feel like it's important to be present, because there could be just things you're missing, from the moment.
Yeah.
And, I want to embrace those moments. And I think it's so important to embrace those moments. I know I get this all the time in my DMs. A lot of people, they're wanting to make friends. They're wanting to meet people. How can someone push past the fear of stepping into new environments? I feel like a lot of people are very scared. They're intimidated. They're also, curious about moving to a new state.
Yeah.
And how do they get themselves out there?
I just feel like you have to put yourself out there. You have to take the risk. You have to be bold, and you just have to go. It starts with figuring out what do you like, what's interesting to you, and going to those events, right? Because those people that are there, they're going to be like-minded like you, So for instance, I'm going to a yoga and plant event next week, Sunday. I'm going there because 1, I like yoga, I like plants. So 9 times out of 10, the people that's going to be there are going to be into the same things, right? So it's just putting yourself out there so that you're surrounded by the people that you have things in common with, and you can, make those connections and meet people. So I think that's a great way to start, but you have to get out there. You have to take risks. You have to be bold, because if you don't do that, you're never going to meet anybody. If you're thinking that somebody's going to show up at your house and say, hey, Trinice, come out the house, that's never going to happen. Like, you have to put yourself out there and do things. And if you say that, funds are an issue, there are so many different free events here, so many different, you can go to the park. Like, they have a park by my house. Every time I go, there's so many people there. I'm like, just that alone, you can meet people.
Exactly.
You just have to put yourself out there.
I agree. I think an argument I've gotten is, well, I went to an event and I didn't make any friends, or I went here and it just, I didn't leave with, people knowing who I am. I don't know. I've gotten those responses before. And I feel like my kind of argument with that, to kind of piggyback off of what you said, it's just like, yes, maybe you went to one event and you met people, you introduced yourself, and it didn't like come down to like a full blown bestie friendship. Right. I think you have to give it time. And I think I think this could be a social media thing too. We're so used to like the digital world being so instant. Everything's like go, fast paced. Everything's fast, that we've realized that friendships take time. Just because you met someone that day doesn't mean you guys are going to be full blown on friends. You just met them. It's okay. Right. Build it over time, follow up, make sure you grab their Instagram, follow them on Instagram, start building that friendship, right? Relationships take time.
They do.
They take time to flourish. And I think people have forgotten that, yes, maybe you introduced yourself to a few people and you met some people, maybe you got a couple of Instagram handles, but continue to follow up, engage, comment, take the first step and ask, hey, let's go grab coffee. Hey, I'm going to this Pilates event. Are you going to go? Like, let's go to the next one. Continue to make those steps. And I think people have forgotten that, to make sure they're being intentional and following up.
I agree. Because with these new adult friendships, they take time.
Oh, yeah.
They do. Like some of my friends out here, I mean, maybe we didn't go out on a coffee date until like 6 months after meeting, or like a year. It does take time.
Absolutely. Because we all lead busy lives, and we're in different seasons and stages of our lives. Like you said, some of your friends are married, they have kids. They might not be able to like go out the next weekend, just meeting someone at a Pilates event, continue to be intentional and, take those risks and, build that friendship.
What do you think are some environments where people can naturally meet people?
Yeah, if you love the gym, you love working out, start taking some classes, if you love Pilates, sign up for some Pilates classes, sign up for events that, you gravitate towards, you're interested in, join book clubs, join clubs that you like, join a dance class, whatever you feel like sets your soul on fire and you enjoy. Go sign up for something that relates to that in real life, So if you like to watch book talk and you love watching people review books on TikTok, maybe now, okay, I love this. Let me find something in real life that relates to this and like kind of do that. If you love pickleball, sign up for a pickleball club, and there's some free pickleball clubs here, just locally in Arizona that people can go to. And so just take your interest from online and just copy and paste that to real life and find real experiences that kind of can, go hand in hand with that.
I love that.
Yeah. I think
I love that.
Yeah.
That's some great advice. Yes. Yeah. Copy and paste. Yeah. What you're doing online, take that and find that in real life.
Exactly. Yes, yeah. Because I think that's how you're going to meet your tribe. You're going to meet like-minded people in real life. And, there's so many resources. And, I know depending on where you live and, the city you're in, some certain events may be limited. But again, you got to kind of take that step. If friendship and community is something that you truly want, then, and this is something you really want, then you'll take the step to make it happen.
Exactly.
Because maybe it's time to look in the mirror and ask yourself, is friendship and community something I actually want?
Right.
Because someone who wants something is going to take in the action or going to put in the action, put in the work to do it. Just like with fitness, people are saying, I want to lose weight. I want to be healthy. Okay, well, step one is going to the gym, finding a routine that works for you, whatever that looks like for you. So it's the same thing, I think, with anything in life. If you really want it, you'll take the time and make it happen.
And some people don't want to do the work. Some people don't want to do it.
Yeah.
That's the downside too. It's like you say you want the community, you say you want the friendships, but you're not taking the time to actually cultivate the friendships, the community, So it's like you have to do the work too. You can want it. Like you said, you can be online looking all day, but you have to copy and paste that into your real life.
Exactly.
In order for it to happen for you.
Yeah. Same with dating, take it just like building a friendship is just like dating, right?
Yeah.
You have to get to know the person. Yep. You have to kind of follow up. You have to, you build that over time. It's not, completely always instant. So it takes time.
It does. No, I definitely agree with that. So what advice would you give someone who feels like they don't have a community yet? And maybe they are struggling. Maybe they are an introvert and they're just really scared. And they're like, I've been here for 2 years and I haven't met a soul and I'm trying.
Oh, yeah, that is tough. Because I understand, there are some people that have said that they've been in a place for, a certain amount of time and they're like, I just haven't found my people. It really depends on the person and where they're at, but I would have to ask them, are you really actually trying or are you going to events and you're kind of like, to your point, are you on your phone? Are you actually looking approachable? There's a little, it's hard to tell, right? Because it's like someone could say, I've been going to events, yet they're in a corner on their on their phone. Right. So it's like, I don't know who this person is, but if they're being intentional, and they're really trying to build those bonds, again, it takes time. And I think it's like, are you going to the activities and the things that you actually enjoy to find those people that you actually have, there's synchronicity with, So I think there's a little bit of things that people should audit with themselves. You know, how am I showing up to events? Am I approachable? You know, am I going in looking and feeling welcoming, right? You know, or am I in a corner on my phone, you know, and not engaging looking awkward, not engaging with anybody, you know, because that can hurt your chances of, you know, trying to meet people. Am I actually going to the events that I enjoy and setting my soul on fire? Or am I just trying to do things because I'm like, oh, well, this looks like there's gonna be a lot of people here, but you're not finding the synchronicity? Because if you're joining a run club and you hate running and you're like, I hate this, I don't know why I'm here, you know, that's gonna maybe, I don't know, like, you know, people can sense that, right? You know, and then maybe it's not a fit for you and you feel like you're not meeting people. It could be a plethora of things. I mean, I feel like it's very person specific, but I think it's really auditing who you are and how you're showing up in those spaces. I think that's the number one thing right now for somebody.
And give it time.
Give it time.
Because I will say, like I said, I've been here now for 4 years. I would say up until my 3rd year, I finally start to feel like, okay, Arizona is home. Like, okay, I found my people. I feel good now. So it took me 3 years to feel comfortable here where I'm like, all right, this is my city.
Yeah, and I agree, you know, and I like that. And I think also give yourself some grace. The first year when you move to a new city, you're navigating the city. You're trying to get comfortable with your job. You're trying to, you know, get comfortable with your coworkers. You're trying to get comfortable knowing your way around the city. So like, that takes time in itself, you getting settled in someplace. And so sometimes, you know, friendship is not going to just show up month one, right? Like you're getting comfortable, you're getting used to a place. So give yourself some grace if it's not happening within the first couple of months, you know?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that for sure. Right. How do you recognize, this is a good question. How do you recognize when you found your tribe?
I think that you know that you found your tribe where, you know, the people that are in your circle, they support you, you know, they, you know, you can relate to them. You guys are kind of on that same, you guys have your own journeys, but there's still kind of like, you know, you guys are very like-minded.
Synchronicities.
There's a lot of synchronicity. And, you know, your tribe can show up in different ways, you know, kind of like what we were saying earlier in the episode to where you have certain friends for certain things. And, you know, your tribe can look different. I think there isn't one way to have a tribe or to have a friendship, right? And, you know, I think social media can make it seem like that, but, you know, whatever works for you. And that's how I see it. I don't judge, you know, when it comes to that, like when it comes to your friendships and how you deal with certain things, I think it's just whatever you feel like feels good for you and the people around you are elevating you and not draining you.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's it. The people that are around you are elevating you and not draining you.
Exactly.
I think that's how you know that you found your tribe. Do you feel energized when you're with these people?
Do they inspire you?
Do they inspire you
to be better?
Exactly.
Are they honest with you? Do they see maybe some cracks in what you're doing and they're helping you to be like, hey, I see your full potential here. And they're being very honest. I think a lot of times, like in friendships, sometimes people feel like they have to tiptoe and not say the truth. It's like, you should have friends that see your potential and then can call you out a little bit on your BS. Be like, girl, I know you're better than that. I know you're better than that. I know you can do so much better. You can do this, you can do that. And they're really inspiring you to grow and not leaving you small.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you are in those situations where they are leaving you small, you really need to do an audit of, are these people really your friends? Is this really truly your tribe? You know, I think that's so important. Absolutely. All right. So we are going to close. So we're going to close with some key takeaways. Friendship evolves as we grow. Community plays a huge role in our well-being and personal growth. Real life connection matters more than ever, especially with the social media evolution. It's just like, it's critical, honestly. The best way to find your tribe is to get out, try new things, and to be open-minded to meeting new people.
Yes, all of that was so good. And if this episode resonated with you, think about one way you can step into community this week. Get out of your comfort zone. Do something new. Find activities in your city or, you know, reach out to people that, you know, you gravitate towards. Try a new hobby, attend an event, join a group. reach out to someone you want to connect with. And if this conversation made you think of someone, share this episode with them. And we're just going to end it real quick with a closing affirmation. I am open to meaningful connections, and the right people are finding their way into my life.
Yes. Love it. So make sure that you follow us online at Thriving Loudly. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, subscribe, all the things. And that is a wrap for today's episode.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.